Grand Rising, Queen Elizabeth.
Grand
And all of
Rising.
you brothers also out there who are also Elizabeths. Elizabeths are people who are pregnant with visions and dreams and intend to manifest them, shall I say.
Yes.
Yeah, today is May the 26th and 2023, and the queens that are on here with me right now are Mama Evelyn and my co-host Lolly, Mariah, and Sharon, the historian for Detroit and the world. And Bridget just dropped in with her beautiful setup, the queen of event planning. And
Grand Rising, beautiful sisters, Grand Rising.
rising emphasis on the grand.
Grand.
Yes, yes, yes. My other co-host, our co-host partner, Danny, is gone to Paris
On her way.
to
Yes.
Paris, along with our sister Alita, and then whoever the other person was. So we wish them safe travels, fun, just fun, unlimited resources.
Yes.
So whatever they want to do, whatever they want to buy, they can and do. With
And
no,
we'll have a
no
wonderful
struggle.
experience.
Yes. So today is Passion and Purpose Day, and we're going to get started with a few things. We are going to go into in June, business plan and creating, writing your stuff down and putting it in a situation where, in a format where you can get money from it, grants, and really use it as a guide for your life.
This is so apropos. I just love the way things come together. The other night, I looked at Sister Ngia and her interview on YouTube. And then, I'm preparing for June 19th at the Belle Isle. Get a text from Cicely this morning asking for how much is my fee. That has always been like that wall.
Yeah. Right.
So I asked Spirit this morning, and last night Reverend Omani said, ask Spirit first. I said, I asked Spirit. I got up this morning, I saw the text. I said, Spirit, guide me on how to do this, because this has always been my stumbling block. Please guide me. And immediately Spirit said, call Gia. And just, get some information on how you should set this up. Because there's the prep, there's the stuff, and then there's my time. So this is, and a business plan is another wall for me, Queen. It's another wall because I do so many different things. And what business plans have always been presented to me as focus on one thing.
Yeah.
That's because right now I'm all over the place. I'm preparing for next month's art class, and I'm getting ready for June, and I'm just hyped up about all these ideas. And it's like, Evelyn, get rid of some of this stuff. But you could do this, and you could. Spirit is just firing off.
Yeah, right.
It's like, okay.
But
So,
I'm the same way. Evelyn, what I learned is to departmentalize them. Okay, because still your bottom line is doing art. Is there a project that you're doing outside of art?
No.
Right. So there's just this item and this item and this item and this item. but you must put numbers to each of the items. So there's more work and stuff, but once you got it, bam. Okay. And when I went in my art, like art, that's a line item, art, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you do something around cooking, then that would be a line item, and then all the projects that's around that. But still, the bottom line is we have to know what the numbers are. Because really, they don't care if it's a lot of different things as long as the numbers add up. And they can see how it makes sense. And so you can see how it makes sense to do it like this. Or maybe this is the project, like I've had business plan, and when I did the business plan, I say, these are all my businesses. This, then it says, this business plan focuses on Everett's.
Okay.
Okay, so this is who I am in total. Bam, 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 bam. But this business plan or this proposal is about this, Everett's School and Salon.
Mm-hmm.
All the information in here is going to line up with that of who I am, which has its own business number and all of that. But I do LEAP, I do City of Arts, I'm a musician, I am blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
It's me, but this proposal is focusing on this.
Okay.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
That gives me a clearer view of things for me.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's right. And then you want to focus on which one do you want to focus on in this thing, because then it's what do you call it? Cookie cutter.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't, just change the information. This business plan is for da da da. So you just change the names. We're going to talk about the structure of the business. What's that going to be? Nonprofit or for-profit, LLC, corporation, CS Corp, all of that. Is it a ministry? Is it but it's about you thinking it out from your perspective, what you see in 5 years and 10 years and on, and just really for this, I really want you all to just go out. Lolly, I want to see that place in New Orleans. I want to see what it looks like. And then write down what is it going to take to make that happen. So you're talking about the steps, and by year 2, I'm going to be blah, blah, blah. In year 5, blah, blah, blah. In year, does it have educational components to it? You do. Well, definitely you do too. Actually, everybody do. Or can be put in there. But and the educational piece is usually that piece that involves the community, so that you teach other people about what you know. So yeah, really discovering what your strengths and your I don't like to use the word weakness, but your strengths and your not so strong areas, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you have to put somebody in that space. Yeah, and then knowing where there's a bottleneck, because see, when I do my schools, I walk through all my businesses for a year, physically in my mind, walking through. On Monday, what happens? If there are different departments, what's happening in each department? When I walk in, Who's there? Who's meeting me, greeting me? Who is, and then what happens? Then I go through it from in my mind from a person from the outside coming in to get my services. What are they seeing? What are they feeling? You know, what do I want in the end? Like if there's a license or a certification, what do I have to do to meet that?
Mm-hmm.
And then whatever you're doing now, how does that set you up for your big picture? What step is that? You know, so I like this format because one, I've been in different businesses, I've business plan classes, and some people are of the mind that somebody's going to steal their idea. And you know what? If somebody want to steal my idea, go right ahead, because there's a lot to it. And it could never be what's in my own head and what's in my own heart. So, but all of us knowing one another, we really can share nuts and bolts and deal with it from the spiritual side, from the technical side. What skills is it going to take to do? And if you can't do it, who is going to do it? You don't have to know the person's name, but come on, let's go get the job description. You know, all of that. So that's what we all get to do, and we get to help one another. You know, like if I know somebody who did that job, I can share. Well, what my brother did was blah, blah, blah. Well, let me find out what his job description is, and then we have it. But they have it all in Google, you know, and we just get to do it together. So that's what we're doing, is removing the fear, Mama Evelyn, from that. Yeah, so we're gonna walk this through together. All right. Okay, Grand Rising, Grand Almighty. Grand to the rise. I rise
Grand
to be
Rising.
grand. I rise to be grand.
Grand Rising.
Yes.
Into the rising.
Grand to the rising. All right, Lily, Lolly. What's up, Lolly, Mariah, Holbert?
Nothing much today. I'm grateful today. Well, first of all, I missed y'all last week, so I'm happy that I'm here today. And I wanted to share with y'all something that happened when I was away. And I'm going to share the first part of it because the first part of it I can connect to what our topic is today. So I was out. Well, first of all, for those who don't know, I was out because I was graduating. I graduated from school in Maryland. So I was out in Maryland last week. And the last day of being in Maryland with my mother, we needed to do laundry. Well, let me preface this by saying your passions will speak for you even after you pass on. Okay. So now back to the story. So that last day, we decided we needed to do laundry so that we didn't carry dirty laundry with us on the plane. And that's what we did. We found a laundromat. We started doing laundry. And that whole time, I needed to like step away from my mom for a little while because I'm going to be honest, I needed to go become one with nature and the herbs that I had. So I was like, I need to get away, but I couldn't. There was not really a time for me to step away from my mother at any point. And I'm like, I don't know what to do, but I'm gonna figure it out. So when we went to the laundromat, I was like, Mom, I'm gonna need to go for a walk. I'll be back. And she was just like, okay, I'll just eat and take a nap. I was like, cool. So I decided I'm a little bit of a wanderer, so I didn't take any main streets. I decided to go behind the laundromat and through this back. Oh, it's not quite an alley, but this back driveway area and walk. So that's what I did. And I was grateful just in that moment to be walking and to be taking in whatever was around me. And as I'm walking, I happen to stumble across a cemetery. A cemetery of all places. And it's not like a fancy cemetery with the fences and the security guard. It just looks like someone's backyard full of tombstones. And but it also looks like just an open grassy area at the same time. And I don't usually walk through cemeteries, but this time I did. It was something I felt like I should do in this moment. And I was like, well, since I'm over here, since I'm going for a walk, let me just acknowledge those who have passed on, those who may have come before me. Let me just acknowledge that. So I went over there. I had my little water bottle that I was drinking, but I also poured libations for people's lives, especially as I was seeing just, different things, people with short lives and who were like, people who were young and people who may have been a while here for a while, couples, just all of that. And I was just like, whatever spoke to me, I would just pour. But at one point, I'm walking through and it feels like I hear singing. And I'm like, who is singing? And I'm looking around, and the way that it's set up is there's apartment buildings that way, there's apartment buildings far that way. And I'm like, can't be a person because there's no one around me, and I wouldn't hear, like, those are brick walls. I don't think I could hear somebody singing through those. I'm trying to figure out what this is, and it wasn't super loud, it was really faint, but I could hear it. And I'm like, why can I hear this? So eventually it got to the point where I'm like, okay, this is kind of annoying for me to hear it, and I know where it's coming from. So let me sing along. So I sang along. Wasn't words, more of just a melody. But I was singing along with it, and I just kept repeating it. I'm like, I've got to find where this is coming from. So I'm wandering about me and my water and me singing this that I'm hearing. By the way, I was hearing a male voice. So I'm like, well, that's real confusing. So I'm running, walking around, wandering, and eventually I'm like, I gotta find this, I gotta find this. And then it stops and I look down and there's a plaque of a man with music notes on top of it.
Wow.
And I said, wow. So of course I cleaned off the plaque, I poured libations. And there's more to the story, but it was such an amazing. I haven't actually, I said I was going to record myself when I went in the cemetery. Just for some reason, I forgot I said that. And then after the whole situation happened, I looked at my phone and realized it was still recording. So I actually still have video of this whole process. So it's a true story. But it was amazing to me because I, number one, wasn't expecting that at all. But number two, his passion was so loud that I could hear him singing it even when he wasn't physically there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I will never forget this. So needless to say, for anyone, and I know pretty much, I mean, I don't know anything, but what it seems to me is that everyone in here is more in touch with what their passions are. But if there's anyone who isn't in touch with their passion, it's the thing that's going to sing for you when you're not physically here. It's the thing that your legacy is going to be talking about. And while you are alive, tap into it. So that's why I think it's so important that, we're going to be talking about our passion and purpose in such a structured way with our business and really manifesting it through, writing down a business plan is writing your vision. It's part of the manifestation process. So this is huge. This is huge. Actually walking into your passion and your purpose is huge because it will speak for you now. You will speak for it now. So it'll speak for you when you're gone.
Wow.
Yes.
That's powerful. That's a powerful experience, sister. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for being obedient and going in there in places that you could not go through. for whatever the reason is, you did. And yeah, that's something else. It says a lot about you and your sensitivity and your passion of music, that you would hear it. Where others may play music or whatever, but they are not sensitive spiritually
Mhm.
to have heard that, like the dog that can hear the whistle when humans can't, but the dog reacts to it. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. So there's more.
There's more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did you want me to share it? Oh, okay. I'll share it. It doesn't apply as much, but after that happened, I was just like, well, at this point, let me just see who else needs water because I'm like, this is interesting. So I was attracted to one area that had flowers on it. And I was like, I'm not gonna go over there. People visit her. People visit that person all the time. They got flowers. Why would I go over there? And I was like, I still gotta go over there. I
Mhm.
still gotta go over there. And it's like, man, okay. So I go over there, and what I see is it's a young woman who passed on my 25th birthday.
Mhm.
And I remember my 25th birthday. And my 25th birthday, I just did like a virtual birthday party because it was still COVID time and I didn't know what to do. And I was just trying to be grateful for my experience, even though I couldn't have a big 25th birthday. And seeing that this young lady, she was young. I can't remember how old she was off the top of my head, but she was very young. And she died. But I was still able to have a 25th birthday. Was amazing to me. So that brought me gratitude. I poured water for her. And the last thing was I was like, all right, well, I'm pretty much out of water. I got a little bit of water left, but I did have my herbal essences and I didn't finish them. So I was like, well, who is this gonna go to? And I went by this tree and it was a young man. He had a picture on it. He was chilling there with a little stick or a smoke or something out his mouth. And I was like, yup, it's you. So I peeled it off. I peeled it off and dug a little hole and put it in there and put water on top of it and cleared off his little thing too. And I was like, there you go, that's yours. And then that was it. And I left. And I was like, it was amazing though. It really was. Like I feel like I came back a different person.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that was kind of a ritual. You were giving something because you were present among the spirits of that graveyard. So you were giving them water and cleaning off the stones. And that was giving something. That was a part of you behind, I think. Because I know when I went through the initiation for Shakti with Shasheda, she said, when you go into a graveyard or any land, but a graveyard. When you go into a graveyard, whatever you pick up something because we went in there to get certain things for our ritual, and you leave something behind. So we would leave money. You always have a pocket full of change or money, and you would leave that at the entrance when you leave out.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to share what they got out, they saw from what she was sharing, or something that personally happened to you that was like, wow.
Well, Grand Rising again. I am down here at the river, so I'm just giving you all a picture of the sunrise
Ooh,
at the river.
Wow. Beautiful.
beautiful.
And first of
Love
all,
the water.
congratulations on your grand accomplishment of finishing your degree.
Thank you.
that's amazing. Yeah, congratulations. And
Mhm.
that, I think your experience in going into the cemetery was opening up your third eye. Definitely, the whole thing with the with the grave and the music and finding the grave where the music may have been coming from. That is I have to still think on that, but that means something, you know? And yeah, just congratulations on even recognizing it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyhow, you everybody, it's a beautiful day, as you see. So get up and do it. Get up and do your thing. Open up your third eyes. Okay, I'm being pulled down the walk by the dog. So let me go back to mute and
Thanks, Sharon. Yeah, thanks for
Thank you.
uh-huh. Mm-hmm. 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 What's on your mind, Rev? I
So,
know you've had some experiences like that in your walk.
okay, what's the experience we have? I'm sleepy, y'all. I've been up since 3 o'clock, so I don't know where I'm at really.
Oh, okay.
Spirit woke me up. Spirit woke me up at 3 o'clock. And then it's like, well, it's 8 o'clock. Get on the call. I'm like, okay. I'm like the dog. How she being like she was saying she's getting pulled along by the dog.
You getting pulled along by spirit.
I just get pulled along by spirit. What you want to do? You want to be up? Okay. You want to read? Fine. But you want to get on the call? Fine. Okay. I'm just right, but I'm like, okay. So what we talking about? I could talk. What we talking about?
It was based on Lolly's story.
Oh, I was back at dwelling in my purpose and passion.
Okay, all right.
That's where I left off at the inside of the purpose and the passion.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I just feel like I need to dwell over there like a little bit more. Like I really feel I'm inside of my purpose and my passion. And it sort of blows me away because along the way I didn't know that this was my purpose and my passion. I
Yeah.
thought I thought it was something else, but now that I'm here, and it actually moves me mightily
Mm-hmm.
when I really get present to that my purpose is seeking God. Wow, that like blows me away really. Like you know, earlier I think somebody was talking about the legacy that you go leave, and I was like, wow, what's the legacy I'm gonna leave? Right. So
Mm-hmm.
I was hanging out in that conversation really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, you know, when I'm gone, what they gonna say, you know, that I left.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I was
I thought what was powerful about what Lottie was sharing was she prefaced it with that whatever your passion is, it still rings out even when
I'm
you're on. Yeah. And
right.
that the man was gone and he was still, you could still hear his music. Oh, okay. Yeah. Because now here I'm gonna tie this in with something else that you talked about, Rev, last week. Because in the cemetery, the listening, when she walked in, the listening was there for that spirit to sing, and she would hear it.
Yeah.
The listening was there for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do y'all get that?
I do get it.
Yeah, I know you get it.
Oh.
But I'm making sure you guys understand what we're talking about. We were talking about you're listening for something, or the listening in the room, or the listening in the space. When Lolly walked in there, where she is spiritually, the listening, and where she is in her passion of music, she could hear that where others could not. So the listening was there for him. Yeah, because everybody can't hear, and there's nothing wrong if some things you don't hear, some things, like I was saying about the dog, it's not designed. God didn't design us to hear at that level.
Yeah.
And there's a purpose for them to hear from that level. So the
Yeah.
listening was there for him, for you and him to hook up like that, even though
Yeah.
you may never know who that was. And then you may something really what we would call freaky would happen, and you find out, oh my God, 20 years ago I experienced that with, and you are, and somehow something else happened, because spiritually we're busting through. This world is busting into the fifth dimension and busting into all this other stuff, so we're going to be experiencing some different things. And some people, like with my understanding is, and it makes sense to me, is that some people got out of here, even with that COVID thing. Some people got out of here because they do not choose to deal with what's coming.
Yeah, if you
Can't deal with that.
If you leave the planet, when you die, it's because you said, okay, I'm ready to go. That's the only way you can go, is that you give your permission to go. But there's something about when Lolly starts talking, I start traveling. Because a lot of times Lolly will talk, I'm like, what did she just say? Because I'll just start traveling inside of her conversation. I travel out. Because even though you start talking about what she said, I heard that, but I was on my own journey about it. I just want to say that. But the thing that I was reading this morning that's sort of correlating to what you're saying is where the shift in the thinking is coming from. Because the shift in thinking is coming from all this time we thought that we do reality. Okay, let me just read this one part. This is what I was reading. No, the truth is we always have created and continue to materialize our reality individually and collectively through our thoughts and beliefs. Again, no reality exists externally from or independent from our mind. So everything that we seeing out there, it ain't out there, it's coming from our mind. And I don't care how many times that I hear that and how many different ways. Every time I hear it, it's like, what? Because mostly we have been taught that it's an objective word, the object and the subject. But really the issue is not the object out there, it's the subject over here, because any object that you're seeing is coming from your mind. Everything that you're seeing is coming from your mind. We created each other. You think you came to the call, but you came to the call as a function of what's in my mind. Does that make sense?
Yes. Right.
Okay. So, and it says again, no reality.
Okay, you're going in and out. We don't hear you at all now, Rev.
Exists externally from or independent of your mind. In other words, we do reality. Oh, you be going through your life and you thought something that made that happen. Oh, we go through life thinking that something out there happens, and then we have to handle it. But we don't really get that it happens in our mind, and then it shows us what's in our mind over there. It would be like, okay, so in one of the jobs I had, there was accountability. So, especially around results. And so, and I'm a result producer, and then all of a sudden I wouldn't produce results. And they would say, okay, what happened, Gwen? I'm like, I don't know. I was just walking along and I had results, and then, oops, no results. Because I was not responsible for what I was thinking. Because to continue to produce results in life, you have to be present and you have to manage what you're thinking. And then sometimes I would get tired of doing it, and I just want to go la da 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 in my mind. And then next thing you know, no results. Because when you start producing results, you got to be accountable and focused. Does that make sense? I don't know. But yeah,
it does.
Yeah, it reminds me, Rev, of class when we was, one of the things that was said was that the Holy Spirit will use what you know.
Yeah.
And what you don't know that you know.
That's that part where it keeps saying remember, because we
Yeah.
know, we just,
because you don't. Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. So yeah, that was
Yeah.
amazing. That was amazing share. So yeah,
It's an amazing trip to. It's amazing to walk through the cemetery anyway. It's a lot going on. It's more going on in the cemetery than dead people. I know that for sure. You know,
Yes,
especially have
sure.
you walked. There's that one. I think Lerner. It's a historical cemetery right there on Lerner. I forget the name of it. It's a big cemetery, but it's historical. Like the founding fathers of Detroit are the founding people who founded Detroit and started Detroit are in that cemetery. Like they go way back. They go back to the 1800s. But girl, and people be in there running and walking, doing their run and walk. You know the name of that cemetery right there? It's a historical cemetery downtown, right on Lerner. It might be on Lerner. Or no, not on Lafayette. I think it's on Lerner. It's a historical cemetery.
Mount Elliott. Yeah, I used to
Yeah,
walk my dogs
you
over
say
there.
maybe Mount Elliott.
it's on Mount Elliott. And Mount Elliott and not Mount Elliott. Right
Yeah,
by now.
yes, yeah. It's Mount Elliott, and I see what you said, Lorna. Yeah.
Right in that area. What's the name of that? What's the name of that cemetery?
Elmwood Cemetery. Yeah,
Elmwood Cemetery. There you go. There you
yeah.
go. There you go. Elmwood Cemetery, girl, it's deep in there. It's very profound in there. When you walk in there, you can feel them souls and spirits in there. You can.
It is very profound. My uncle is buried in there. And as they were after after we got in there and they were getting ready to intern his body, my dad had a thing of walking through cemeteries. And he was like, "Come on, let's go for a walk." And I was like, "I'm not walking through here. These are people, these are dead people." He was like, "Come on, girl, let me teach you something." And we started reading the headstones. And while they were interning my uncle, I got lost in reading the headstones. And yes, that cemetery is very powerful. It is very powerful. The people who are in there, um, so much knowledge
Yeah.
from days and years gone by that me and my mother ended up going, "Where in the world are they?" We'd gone all through the cemetery. By the time we got back, everyone was already starting to leave. It is a very powerful place to walk through. I am complete. I just want to say that.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Wow.
And Lolly, I want to tell you, I think that's a Louisiana thing because my family would always come talk about, let's go walk through, because the cemeteries in New Orleans and Louisiana are above ground.
Mm-hmm.
So to go and walk through those cemeteries, because it's formerly swamp area, and they were buried above ground and buried in crypts and mausoleums. It is very interesting to walk through there, and that's why whenever you go to New Orleans or anywhere in Louisiana, there are tours of their cemeteries. That's a whole business of its own, are the tours of all the cemeteries.
Yep. It sure is. Yeah. You know, it was funny because after I shared that story with a friend of mine, he was like, "So you gonna be a mortician?" I said, "I'm too sensitive. No, no, that is not it. That is not my passion, nor is it my purpose. That ain't it."
Yeah, just I don't know if you can see me, but yeah, they just had a TV show on that dealt with a woman who wrote the obituaries, and she would basically be visited by the spirits, before the funeral. So that was an interesting show.
Wow. Yeah, no, I don't need that. That's too much. I gotta schedule them in, and that's just no, thank you.
Oh my goodness. Okay, where did I put that? Mm-mm-mm.
Golly, they have to get on edge if they want to talk to you. That's funny. Oh, that ain't quite how spirit works though.
I know.
Us all on in. In the like, excuse me, I got way on. Spirit done hopped in the conversation. I got a three-way going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, Lolly, I'm looking for something. If there was something you wanted us to do or share a reading or anything else while I'm looking for information, that would be really
Okay. I have one reading I can share, because like Reverend Amani, I woke up at 3 this morning. So I went back to sleep though, so after I had my little meditation. Um, I'm trying to find which where was okay. So this does come from a Buddhist perspective, but please listen and relate and translate into whatever makes sense for you. But we were talking yesterday, we talked about manifesting in our lives. And I was like, I need to really tap into what my prayer is, understand what my why is, and all of that. And so there's a reading in this newspaper that they send out called The Profound Power of Our Prayer. That's what we were talking about yesterday. So there's one part, and it says, if you take, let's say, no prayer will go unanswered. We practice to make our prayers and dreams come true to achieve the greatest possible happiness. The purpose of Nichiren Daishonin's Buddhism is to enable us to realize victory. The fact that our prayers are answered proves the correctness of this teaching. When we plant the seed of happiness that is faith and carefully tend its growth, it will produce fruit without fail. We have to bear in mind, however, that we cannot plant a seed today and expect it to bear fruit tomorrow. That's not reasonable. And Buddhism is reason. If we persevere in the practice of faith equals daily life in accord with reason, then our prayers will definitely be answered. This is Nichiren Daishonin's promise to us, and his words are true beyond any doubt. No offense unexpiated. Any offense or slander will be cleansed from our lives through the power of domestic law. It will disappear and turn into benefit. No good fortune unbestowed. Good fortune will be attracted to our lives in ever increasing abundance. And in time, we will definitely enter the path of life in which all wishes are fulfilled. No righteousness unproven. All correct reason and principles will be clearly manifested and verified in our lives. We will definitely see actual proof and become experts of human existence and masters of daily life. I would like each of you to show glowing proof of these 4 points in your life. So really the point is that the biggest thing it says, it is by chanting powerful daimoku like a lion's roar that we can move the protective forces of the universe. And when you chant for a short while, no prayer will go unanswered, no offense unexpiated, no good fortune unbestowed, no righteousness unproven. So in your prayer, if you pray with the strength of a lion, with that ferociousness, that belief, that power behind it, when you have that prayer and you're like, this is what I want for my life, those things can become true for your life. We can manifest these things in our lives. And those fortunes, this is no good fortune unbestowed. That's for us. It's for us. You know, anyone who's naysaying, that's not for us, and that's gonna clear away. What we want for our lives is going to come, but it starts with our prayer. That starts with our connection. That starts with us writing down our vision and pushing forward in that, and really, really, really committing ourselves to what we believe this purpose is for us. And I think that beautifully transitions into, you know, how we decide to carry out our passions, our purpose, and the things that we want for our lives. is understanding that power behind what we're standing on. So if it's your prayer, your literal, prayer closet, if it's your Gohanzen, if you have one and you practice Buddhism, if it's, your ritual, whatever it is that you do that with the greatest conviction and the greatest power, knowing that if this is something that you really want and you know that it is an alignment for your life, it will happen. And that includes our businesses. So that's what I wanted to share from that reading. And that's about all I got for that one.
That's so good. I'm going to share a video with you all. When I first started business, when I knew that I was going to have a school and a salon and all that kind of stuff, and my family was okay. So I'm born in Kansas City, left Kansas City when I was 9, went to California, San Diego. And so all my school year basically is in San Diego. Left there and graduated in 71. Left San Diego at 74, and been basically in Detroit ever since. Okay. And I knew how to braid. Okay, so I moved out here, and then when I started braiding hair and stuff because I could make money. So, okay. And that there again, there is something that is, I would not say that that's my passion, but I call that my assignment. Okay, it was linked to my assignment here on earth. So, my family was still in Detroit, in San Diego. So one by one, my cousin came to Detroit, moved here to help me when I started my business of natural hair. And then we went and got Fonte, her brother, to do our, marketing and all that kind of stuff, because he's very outgoing and such. Irish was my that's my bestie. She's now deceased, but she came to Detroit. My mom moved to Detroit. My whole family ended up moving to Detroit because of Everett's natural hair. Okay. So I was always interested in the leadership and in reading books around, how you work with employees or how you work with partners and how you make things fun for them so that they stay with you. All that leadership, I was at leadership, masterminding and all that kind of stuff. I was doing all of that, still doing that. And always interested in self-development, because if I'm going to lead, then I must, get my stuff together along the way here. So one of the people that I would study is Robert Kiyosaki. When I got his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it the whole story is amazing. And it's a good read. It's a fun read. And you learn a lot. And from his life and what has happened around money, he had a rich dad and he had a poor dad. And when he says poor dad, the poor dad was a regular 9-to-5 kind of person. That's where the poor came in, because of the way he thought versus how the rich dad thought. Okay, so, but there were games, and there were the way he breaks things down to understand about that there are four quadrants. You're in one of these or 3 of these or 2 of these areas. And that's what I want to share with you today. just kind of get our minds into where we want to be, where we're going. And when I saw that, well, I'm gonna let him start and then I'll interject. Grand Rising Lakeisha and Edwana, thanks for joining us.
Grand Rising. Thank you. Good morning, ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Grand Rising, ladies. Grand Rising. I miss y'all this week.
Yeah. You too, Ebony. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna go. Okay, here we go. Now, I'm hoping this will work. If something, yes, it's going to work. It's going to work. Let me do this right quick. Let me go here. Let me go here. Let me hit that. Optimize for video clip. Share.
Employee. S stands for self-employed, small business or specialist like a doctor or a lawyer. B stands for big business, 500 employees or more, and I stands for investor. Now the distinction here is this, is that each of these are...
Can you all hear that?
Yes.
I can, yes.
Okay, good. All right. This is very, very important because what this did for me, what it did for me is just said, what area do I want to be in for to be, you know, wealthy, to be rich, to be, you know, yeah. So, and I've always thought in a business sense and the business and the investment. So more, I've always thought from the business because I've always wanted to train and then hire or teach them how to have their own stuff and how to run their own business and such. So when he broke it down like this, this is
One of the more important lessons my rich dad taught me, he said there was 4 types of people in the world of business or money, whatever he said. And this here are the 4 different types of people, and he called this the cash flow quadrant. So E stands for employee, S stands for self-employed, small business or specialist like a doctor or a lawyer. B stands for big business, 500 employees or more, and I stands for investor. Now the distinction here is this, is that each of these are 4 different types of people. They have 4 different tax laws for all 4 different types of people, and this is throughout the world. But it was my poor dad who always said to me, you know, son, go to school so you can get a job. So my poor dad wanted me to be an employee like him. And there's nothing wrong with that and all this, except the tax laws are the worst for employees. As Warren Buffett says, you know, he, as a business owner and investor, he pays a lower percentage rate than the employees. And many employees are having a tough time today. Not only is there high gas prices, but there's going to be higher taxes. My mother wanted me to become a doctor or a specialist or a small business person. And I said to my mom, S stands for smart. She says, you got a good point there, because I didn't do well in school, so I wasn't going to make it there. It was my rich dad who advised me to become an entrepreneur or a big business owner like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, Michael Dell, all those guys who created Facebook and Yahoo and all this, or Google. And he wanted me to become an investor. So he started me playing the game of Monopoly, you know, 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. So I learned to be an investor and I learned to be an entrepreneur. So the good news is if you want to get rich, you can get rich in all 4 quadrants, okay? That's up to you. And so it was my rich dad who said to me, he says, you know, Robert, if you really want to be rich, learn to build businesses. It made more sense to him to work hard to build a business, something you owned and something you could pass on for generation to generation to your kids. Whereas my poor dad said work hard, but my rich dad said, why would you work hard for something you'll never own and you can get fired from right away? Again, that was the difference in values. So my rich dad suggested I learn how to be a business owner and learn how to be an investor. And that's one of the big differences. On this side of the quadrant, these people here work for security. They work for money also. On this side over here, their key value that they want is they want freedom. They don't want to have to work at a job anymore. They don't want to have to work for the rest of their lives. So the beauty of building a business and learning how to invest is very simply that this is passive income. You work hard for a few years, but possibly for the rest of your life, income keeps flowing to you. Again, the reason somebody thinks a house is an asset is because they lack financial intelligence or low financial IQ. They may go on to Harvard or in whatever, but if you can't tell an asset from a hole in the ground, I don't know what the heck you can tell the difference of, you know? So it's really quite simply the most important word for those of you in business or finance. No, the most important word is not income, expense, asset, liability. The most important word in the English language for the rich is a word called cash flow. You've got to know where the cash is flowing. So what a rich person is doing is controlling cash flow. So if money comes from an asset into your pocket, it's an asset. So very simply, when I was 9 years old, my rich dad said, assets put money in your pocket whether you work or not. Okay, repeat after me. Assets put money in your pocket whether you work or not. Okay? And very simply, liabilities take money from your pocket. Okay? So what does a liability do? It takes money from your pocket. Okay? So the way you know you have an asset or a liability is very simply this. If let's say you're married with 3 kids and all this stuff, and you stop working, the money coming in is money from an asset, and the money going out is money from a liability. So if you happen to have a little house sitting over here, and it's sucking cash out of your pocket every month, it's a liability. And can do it. A number of years ago, I bought a $7 million commercial building. I paid for it with 0 down. And every month, after everything is paid for, it puts about $30,000 a month income in my pocket, or $360,000 a year for no money down. So that is the price of having a good education or a bad education. A good education is knowing the good debt versus bad debt and how debtors can win if you know what you're doing. Even in this economic environment of high volatility, because I'm basing all of my investments not on capital gains or appreciation, I base all of my investments on cash flow, how much money comes in. So even though the real estate market has crashed, I hate to say this, but it's been good for me because more people became renters all of a sudden. So my rental rates went up, my income went up, I'm paying for it with cheap dollars and things like this. So in the new rules of money, you have to know the difference between good debt and bad debt and why savers are losers and debtors are winners.
I remember when silver was 50 an ounce. I thought it was a bargain then. Today it's $24 an ounce. It's even bigger bargain today. Now is the time to buy as it rallies.
Okay.
Grand Rising. Was that Robert Kiyosaki?
Yes, it was. Definitely. Yep.
So I just want to say that Rich Dad Poor Dad changed my life at 16. I think I told you guys this story. I got the book from Borders Books because it was purple, gold, and black, and my favorite color was purple. And I thought it was a novel. I did not know it was a business book. That cash flow quadrant, and I got the cash flow quadrant when I was like right after the first book. It probably is why I am the way I am today about going to go work for somebody, because I've got that knowledge since I was 16 and was working at my uncle's shop and saw, the concept, the idea being written down on a napkin, actually coming from fruition, which was him building that children's shop. So I'm like, Robert Kiyosaki said in the second book, Cash Flow Led, how our parents made their monies with their pensions and working for 30 years and everything was not going to be, the next generation's reality. So right. I'm like, yeah, my mind has been transformed ever since. like work for somebody for 20 years. Ain't nobody working, I know, working for somebody for 20 years. They get their packages, they go and they move on to the next. So I'm just like, yeah, I love hearing that stuff over and over and over again. Now it's just getting to that point because what he said is true. It's like every time we go into a recession, the ones that own property and own homes and own apartment buildings, they're the ones that get money because while people are getting foreclosed on, they're becoming renters. It's like I need to tap into that market. Seriously. I just have to share that. Grand Rising, everybody.
Yeah,
Risings, Danielle.
I knocked the water over. So yeah, same with me, Danielle. When I heard him, it was young. I was like, whoa, yes, this is me. This is I'm always I want to be on that side. I want to be on that side. I'm going to work to get on that side. I got to set up things to be on this side, on the business and the investor side.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is why, you know, and going into this session, this next section, series of business plans is that, see, I have, and I want to know about I want to know about you. I want to know about you. So Elizabeth is just a little entity in my whole vision, you know, just it's and the conference is an event. You get that?
Yep.
So, but what has happened is with Grand Rising Elizabeth, it has basically just stepped forward in my life. And some things will just step forward where the spirit will say, okay, it's time to deal with this over here. Okay, now there's a season of the hair. There's a season of this. And, you know, when a baby comes, the baby's here and you must deal with the baby. Yet you still have your other children that you are still tending to as well. Okay, and so my and how my business is laid out, and I'm gonna share that with y'all probably next week, is linking everyday extraordinary people. That's like, and then the City of Arts, and the City of Arts is all these businesses. LEAP is every business that is connected, and it's like the City of Arts is musicians and anybody in the art world. And it is and as well as the businesses like entertainment lawyers and, you know, music stores and dance, blah, 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 anything, the business side of it as well. Okay. And it is the city, it's like the city that takes care of everybody. Detroit is a city and it must provide certain things for people to live in the city. Where the City of Arts is for artists, so that we, with the working together, we remove the stigma of starving artists. Because here in Detroit, and it'll be all over the world, but here in Detroit, people will literally flock. Musicians, actors, dancers, painters, writers will flock to Detroit because of the City of Arts is going to be start right here. But what happens with the City of Arts, it makes it worldwide and all that, is because whatever is done physically goes out in the internet. Everything we do, it goes out. So at a push of a button, when people joining and being involved in the City of Arts, there's entertainment, there's all of it. And you can go to the City of Arts like you can go to Google, like you can go to Yahoo, like you can go to YouTube. And it's a city of art. So whatever in 24/7, whatever is going on all over the world, like whatever is going on in China, you sleep, but over in China, this is going on. So there's constant 24/7 entertainment and information going forth, just like Channel 4, just like, you know, Channel 7 and all so on and so forth. I know that's a lot. And I don't plan to run it, but I am the visionary of it. I see the vision and very comfortable in being that. And I want all of you very comfortable in being that, so nobody comes in and takes over with their ideas, that you know what your baby looks like and how you're raising your baby. So that, and even my businesses, Everett's, the event planning school, the what is the culinary arts school, all of those things are will be up under that, because what in provision for the city, LEAP, LEEP, linking everyday extraordinary people. You know what? I'm gonna go here right quick. Un momento. Anyone want to share while I'm looking for this other stuff?
While you're looking for it, I have not read, I'm about to say read it, that's not a word. I have not read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So this was, watching that video was my first personal experience with some of the content of it. I've been around people to like talk about it, but I haven't really indulged in it myself. So I definitely am gonna need to read it. But it was interesting that he was talking about the specialists, or the employees, and considering them the poor, because they're working for the money, and then the other ones, the businessmen and investors, are working for the freedom. And I was like, that is really interesting, because I had to think about, for me, what do I want more, the money or the freedom? And truth, I want both, but like truthfully, like I have plenty of opportunities to work a job or do things to bring me money, but I work tirelessly, and I like to be able to, wander around and travel and walk into a cemetery,
Right. Exactly. It's so
Lolly, I want to piggyback on that. He also said something that if you're a business owner and you can't walk away from your business, then you're not a business owner, you're an employee. And that was true for my uncle, because he had this business, this children's shop. It wasn't until he was able to walk away for a week, and the business still runs without him being there, did he actually understand what it meant to be a true entrepreneur or business owner. You have to create your business to the point where it can run and still make money without you being there. That's the biggest important flex to being a business owner / entrepreneur, is the fact that you can walk away, the doors still open and close, the deposits still get made, the appointments still get made, people, the employees, and everything still functions and flows. And see, I was the manager. I was the one taking on that responsibility. Now I'm like you, I'm at that point. I want to build a business that I can walk away from, and my business still makes money without me having to be there to do the business itself. So there's levels to this stuff that as entrepreneurs, we have to think about. Are you building this for a job for yourself? Or are you building something you can pass down to your children? Because if you're passing it down to your children, you should be able to walk away for a week or two and everything still flows. Everything still, as if you was upstairs in the office, everything still works. I love me some Robert Kiyosaki. I really do. I need to get that book and read it again. That's a book you just read over and over and over. And like I said, my uncle snatched the book out my hand. I had to buy a whole other book because he snatched it out my hand and started reading it for himself. And it changed the mindset of how he was doing business as a hair salon owner. Most salons either work on booth rent or commission. And it's like, you got to make something called profit. And that's where I saw in real time, you know, him and his wife having weekly business meetings, going over the numbers, seeing where their profit margins were at, seeing where they were making money. See, you know what I'm saying? The conversation was different. And I saw the profit and loss statements on a weekly and monthly balance, daily, you know, monthly basis. So I'm like, you really want to talk about business? Talk about your profit and loss statement. Let's see if you got the money really coming in, and then strategize why the money not coming in and how you can create the money coming in. It's a whole different ball game when you start working with the profit and loss statements. It's a beautiful thing.
It really is. It really is. Let me go here. So here we have the cash flow. I'm gonna pull this down. Okay, good. All right. The cash flow quadrant, 4 ways to produce income.
It's still loading.
Yes, we don't see it.
What do you guys see?
Loading.
Oh, okay. So what Danielle was talking about is creating a system. And when you have that system, then and everybody knows what to do, when to do, why you're doing it. And so that someone else, and it's written down somewhere where if someone else comes in and says, oh, this is what she did, you give them that, and you have a whole system around your system. That's when you can sell your company, when you have everything documented and you have proof of how that's going to work. So things that are even as little, and it's small, but it is so key for my salon, for the school. And then of course the salon, because the school teaches this, then the salon would do this. But I have in my design a room where when a person walks in, like what that whole system is, what the whole procedure is. Do you guys see the cash flow quadrant yet? Is it still loading? Okay.
It says loading, but if you see it, maybe refresh it. I'm not sure.
I know I need to reload Zoom.
Oh, okay.
It's not.
Yeah, good queen. It's your operations manual. It's everything from how your business is opened, how your customers are greeted, how the bathrooms are cleaned, how it's everything. It's every procedure so that anyone can come in and read it and know how it should be flawless from employee to employee to employee. We actually sat down and created that stuff.
Can y'all hear? I'm sorry. Can y'all see this?
No, it's black. It's the black screen.
Huh? Okay. Okay, go ahead, honey.
And you know, nowadays, back in the day, we didn't have copies or Chat GPT. So you had to really create all of this based upon the day-to-day activities of your business. But now you can find templates. You can sit there and you know, think about how you want your business ran. There's templates out there, and then there's Chat GPT. You can actually create this system, and it makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. You just brought up the fact that I have what is it? Expertise in this, that I know about this. I know how these things work.
Can you see it now?
Yes. Oh,
we saw it. It was there, and now it's gone.
It's gone now?
Yeah, it says loading again, but we saw it. I don't know what happened.
All right, that was me making it just full screen, so I'll just keep it. You can see it now.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So, okay, so here's your cash flow quadrant, and there are 4 ways to produce income. So either you are E for employee, which means you have a job. Let me see if I can make this a little.
Just over a broke scenario.
There we go. Okay. There's no leverage, 5% wealth, and the amount of active work determines your income. All right. And the thing about the employee, well, I don't know. Let me ask you. Give me one positive and one negative about being an employee.
You have a consistent check, so you probably know exactly what your income is going to be for the week or the month.
Okay.
But you're trading your time. You're trading your valuable time for a consistent check.
Okay, somebody else?
The negative
Go ahead.
that they can take your job whenever they want.
That's a negative, a positive.
And pile more work on you for the same amount of money, and you either deal with it or you don't.
Okay, that's a negative. Give me a positive.
I would say a positive is you don't have to do the budgeting and administrative work.
And I think a positive is you can walk away whenever you want to. You're a private contractor.
So I have the best, I won't call it the best of both worlds. I'm walking in both worlds. I work a full-time job and I have 2 businesses. What I have with my job is I don't have to worry about my healthcare coverage. I know I have my healthcare, I have my eye insurance, I have my dental insurance, I have 401k that I pay into, and I have a stock portfolio that I pay into that I can purchase and have purchased stocks through. So I have that, and I have that knowing that when I make that full transition to full-time, my 401k and my stock portfolio. But the positive is the health insurance part of it, because I know that once I make that full transition into full-time, I have to buy my own healthcare coverage. So there are a few positives to full-time.
I like what you shared, Bridget, about because actually when you're looking at this, and I'm gonna go through this, the quadrant, you are operating in 3 of these areas, which is really good. Yeah. So you have a job, you have a 9 to 5 or whatever that is. You are self-employed. You say you have some things that you're doing on your own. And you have some stock. So you are doing all 3 of these. And like you said, and once my investment has gotten where I need it to do, then I go over here to the B and open a business, be a business owner. But the experience in all 3 of these is invaluable.
I got it from reading. I actually have 2 copies of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I've read it, watched his videos, and that's actually where that came from. It also came from watching my uncles, who also own their own businesses, and watch them build multiple businesses that they still have. And these gentlemen are now in their late 70s and their 80s. So I watched them start from the ground up and build several companies.
Mhm.
So actually kind of where I've gotten it all from.
I think that's the invaluable knowledge, is being able to be around people who built, businesses and empires from scratch. I have an uncle that got me into marketing because he created two board games, one called Politics and one called Cliche. Politics was kind of like Monopoly, but dealing with politics, and Cliche was dealing around old time sayings that it was created around my grandmother's colloquialisms. Like, grandma, I have no place to sit. She would say, you can sit in your fist and ride back on your thumb. So it was kind of like charades and different, with all these different things and everything like that. So I've seen ideas pop up and go into conceptualism and figure out, which game set looks better. This one has the red, this one has the blue, doing the focus groups and the packaging. And I've seen this stuff. I've seen stuff go from zero to now you're doing $5,000 a week. You're doing $10,000 a week. You're going from not being able to make the bills, not making able to make payroll, to now you're putting away money savings for payroll 2 weeks in advance. Like, I've seen all that. I've seen that. And, my uncles to this day was like, I think I kind of messed you up because, I have a resistance in getting a regular job, but I also have more freedom doing the entrepreneurial stuff that I've been doing, working for Harold's Place, working for Everett. There was more freedom in creating what needed to be great than if I was to go and, let's say, follow my mom's footsteps and work for Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's like I don't know. I just can't. I've worked for Blue Cross and hated every second of it.
Boring. Just plain old boring. Some of that stuff is boring. I want to go right here to the personality of what they do, of each of those in the quadrant. An employee, you have a job. You're looking out for security. Climb the corporate ladder. You say, I'm looking for a secure job with the nice colleagues and great benefits. That's what I want. No OPT or OPM, then workload increases. So other people's time or other people's money, then your workload increases. So if you're doing, they got more people, they don't hire more people, but somebody said it earlier, then they give you more work. I think it was Mama Evelyn. You're doing that work. Pros, certainty of money, that you're going to get paid on this date and you're going to get this amount. You get your vacation and your benefits, and your colleagues get new friends. Cons, success means more work and less free time. Performance is often higher than your salary. And the other thing, someone else determines your value. I hate it when they say, okay, it's time for you to do what do they call it? An assessment or
your annual review.
Review, yeah, on somebody, like, what? And so, yeah, we're gonna no, we're not gonna give you that increase. What?
But you know what I'm finding out? Being a freelancer and being an independent contractor, I make more money on the freelance independent contract side than I do trying to be up under corporate. And I'm saying here, like, you can come in and pay me as a consultant to do whatever project you want me to do. I'm gonna make more money than that employee who's already there. And I'm like, that right there is like, ooh, that's an added advantage. Cause that's the fact that they try to put more workload on you. It's just interesting. It's like, it's interesting. I'm finding that out. And that companies will outsource, for freelance work.
Yeah.
So there's another way to actually get paid, without necessarily have to be being tied to a corporation.
So that's called the self-employed, or you own a job, no leverage, 95% population. The amount of active work determines your income. You don't work, you don't get paid. So here, let's go to the self-employed. Well, you get control, highly specialized in a demanding field or an expert in a particular area. Says, I'm looking for a job where I can be compensated well for my skills and time, where I am in charge, right? You want to be in charge. You want to make all the decisions and be responsible. Some people want to make the decisions, but they don't want to deal with the responsibility of it. But it's the two. No OPT or OPM, their workload increases. So you bring another idea and you're the only one, you just got more work to do. And then the cons are more work, less free time, and may lose money. Because if you don't get any clients, or you don't get your customers or your contracts, then there's no money coming in. So that self-employed is where the hustle is right there. You really got to hustle to be successful, self-employed. But then when you move over to the B, business owner, you own a system. The leverage is 95% wealth. Income does not depend on active work. So in other words, you have created a system for your business where, whether you're there or not, it knows what to do. It knows who they should speak to, what time. They know all of that because it's written down. Okay, not just in your head. And that's one of the challenges, is to get it out of people's heads onto a booklet. When you have those types of things, more money is also available to you. And then the investor, your own investments. Leverage is 5% of the population. Income does not depend on active work. Your money works for you. Up here, the business owner, people work with you. All right. Let's read down here. I think I read the business owner properly, and it says I'm looking for people that are smarter than, okay. So business owner is about freedom, profit, being profitable, business systems, creating that. Says I'm looking for people that are smarter than me to run my business for me. OPT hires people from the left side of the quadrant. Those people that just want to be employees, they're on that side. OPM uses money from investors, pro OPT and the OPM. So you got both those things working for you. You got people working for you and you're making investments, okay? Financial freedom can be achieved very quickly and you can pay less taxes. Cons, finance uncertainty may require what's not taught in school, and you have to learn how to manage people. An investor, freedom, allocate money to where it has the highest expected return. Profitable business system says I'm looking for a place where my money can work for me in the most profitable way possible. Generate money from his money alone, and if he's skilled enough, and typically apply OPM, other people's money, as well as his own money to scale his investment profits.
Shark Tank.
Yeah, right.
Like, I got the money to invest, tell me why I should invest in your business. That's Shark Tank. So basically, let's put it like this. I can either be a caregiver for the rest of my days and be paid by somebody else and be given hours according to client schedule and everything like that. Or I can go over and own my own agency and hire employees to be the caregivers while I go out and get the clients. And then eventually, but I'm still probably still probably working, if people don't show up, then I have to put on scrubs to go work. Or then I can have the investor part where I just invest my money and pay people to run it and go off and do my own thing.
So your pros, using other people's time and money, financial freedom can be achieved very quickly and you'll pay less taxes. The cons are financial uncertainty, may require what's not in school and manage people, and you may lose your money as well. So these are the different areas that you want to work in. You want to get to where you're on the right side of the quadrant, where you're there's more freedom in being a business owner and an investor. Now, there is more over here as an employee, you can still be an investor, right? You can, as Bridget is, she's an employee, she's self-employed, and she's an investor, working towards including the business, being a business owner. So if you, I don't know if you can talk right now, Bridget, but I'd like to know, what does the business look like? You're being a business owner. So in other words, what does that look like?
I can talk, but I can't come on camera.
Okay.
So for the business owner, for me, it's growing the business to the point, because both of my businesses they are similar but different. So I'll be a business owner, but still self-employed. So I'll still be both, because the main part of the business is, and I guess I can't even call it the main part. One part of it is the supper club. So with the supper club business, I'm the business owner. I'm the business owner of it now, but I'm still involved in it as being self-employed, because it still involves me, and I would want to be involved in all the pieces and parts that go into ensuring venues and caterers or chefs and musicians or spoken word people, all that goes into that. The other part of the business, which is the decor and design part of it, feeds into the supper club, because I actually also do my decor and design. Now, I'll get to the point as a business owner that yes, people will be hired to assist with that, but because it's still such a hands-on business, you actually still end up being both. If that makes sense. Because if you are doing any sort of a job, whether you're doing it for yourself, your business, or someone has hired you to do something for them, just from other event planners and decor and design people that I know, they still show up with wherever their employees are on site. They're there because that customer has paid you to do a job, and you want to still oversee it and make sure that it's done. And they still have some hands-on in it also. So from reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but also from talking with and working with other business owners, I've found out that the two actually go together.
Right.
Depending upon what type of company you have. There are some companies that, yeah, you can release it like Google or what have you, and say, I'm the business owner and I have all these people underneath. But depending upon what type of business you have, you actually sometimes end up being both the business owner and self-employed, because of the type of business that it is. If I answered the question. Okay.
Good. Lolly, what do you see in New Orleans when you said that your friends were like, oh, you don't need to do that because blah, 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 blah. What's the vision? What do you see? Walk me through the door.
Well, in truth, I feel like I'm supposed to be the initiator in what's happening. I don't know if I'm gonna be the one to carry it out long term. But really what I'm doing is not so much for my own personal gain. I'd be working with the nonprofit that I'm already a part of.
Okay.
Yeah, and that would be going down and establishing the connections in the space, and then getting the funding for the instruments and the equipment, and then the recruitment of the youth. But I don't think that that would be for my personal profitable gain.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
what is your baby? What does that look like what's your baby?
So there's a few different routes, and I'm pretty sure I'll have multiple businesses. But my thing is entertainment and community, which includes education surrounding many different topics, whether it's uh herbalism, or whether it's, mental health or whatever, but always utilizing entertainment. And so one thing that I wanted to do was establish, I suppose, like an independent label, I guess you could call it, where I have artists that are connected to the community and are able to like go through different trainings or whatever, but really be uplifted as artists who will give back to their community in some way, with programs that connect to what I was just talking about with the educational pieces. So I think that's probably my biggest thing as far as profit. And then also, I want to be able to be a consultant and speak along with performing. I want to be able to be speaking and consulting others as well. So I'm still kind of rationalizing, figuring out, especially with this information today, what does that look like in its entirety? Has just made me realize that I don't know. And I need to better figure that out, because I know it's not I'm just an employee thing. Because with the stuff that I want to do with starting the youth program back in New Orleans, that's on an employee basis thing, which is great. And I'm not really doing that for the money anyway. That's just to be connected to that. But figuring out, how do I want to really be a boss? What was that B? The B was the businessman and the investor.
Yeah.
Because instead of being the person, I would love the experience. I know the experience of finding investors and things like that for the youth program will be helpful. But I want to be on the other end of the spectrum. When I did a pageant some years ago, one of my little opening remarks or something, I said, I was like, and soon to be philanthropist, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's where I see myself. I have the heart. So I want to have the funds and the resources and the businesses to make, those things happen in our community. So I need to figure that out still. I really truthfully now realize I don't know.
So I would add, Lolly, don't say soon to be, say that you are. Because technically, if you give $10 to somebody on the street just because they asked, you just gave something of yourself. You are a philanthropist. Like we are this type of stuff. I did 2 speaking events. I consider myself a speaker because I've done 2 events. I have to sit down and do a plethora of topics that I can talk about, but I feel confident enough working with a friend of mine who has a nonprofit organization geared towards mentoring young girls, mentoring these young girls from elementary to high school. We have conversations with people just like I'm having conversations with my Elizabeth. You just change the narrative about the age of what you're talking about to who you're talking. And you never know what impact that you put on people. I'm noticing this training and development is happening from my landmark training into real life, being able to switch up on who. So I'm like, if somebody asks me, am I a speaker? Yes, I am. So what is your rate? I would love to be one of these business people going into high schools talking. They used to come and talk to us about anything and everything. And I didn't know that they were getting paid for that. So it's like, oh, that these schools have budgets to bring in. Okay, so yeah, we can do this. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, don't say future, you are a philanthropist. If you ever gave $1 to somebody on the street, you're a philanthropist. If you ever got up and spoke on a panel, you're a panelist. If you ever, once you do something, you are that. If that makes any sense, is what I'm saying. So I'm like, now these are little extra side, because all these business people doing it, that's just a little petty cash for them. You know what I'm saying? That little $100 for speaking for an hour is just petty cash, and they're giving back to the community. So I don't want to be in a position where, like Mama Sheila said, I have to be a starving artist. I have to do this for free in order to join community and everything like that. No. There's budgets, there's plans, especially if they're nonprofit organizations. They got money budgeted for stuff like this. So don't be afraid to make sure that your time is properly compensated for. Is what I'm in the season of learning. Like, oh, okay. I just wanted to interject that, but I'm watching what my friends are doing, and I'm learning vicariously through them, you know, how to set up stuff so that, like I said, all of LaTanya's mentors get paid. Every last one of them, for the 2 hours that they're working for those kids, there's a paycheck that goes along with that. So she has investors, she has fundraisers, she gets the money from the different places, and the money is there to take care of the supplies, the snacks, as well as the paychecks. So we got to think on the level of that everybody is covered, including her. So I'm like, I'm learning. I'm like, okay, let's get her done. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
That just, I just have to say thank you for sharing that, because the one thing that stood out was like making sure I'm properly compensated for what I'm doing. And what I'm realizing is with the nonprofit, technically when I leave, they know my work ethic and they know what I'm capable of doing. So they're like, we want to have you around somehow, we can figure some things out. And I think what I'm going to do is, you know, even though I won't technically be an official employee with them, but the work I'm doing is out of passion. I'm going to document it. I'm going to document the work that I'm doing and the hours that I put into it and all of that, so I can, you know, say, okay, this is what I've accomplished here. And so if you would like me to continue in making this happen, I would
This is my hourly rate. Like with Imagine, when I work with the students of Imagine, it's $75 for 2 hours. So I know I'm working 2 hours, I'm getting paid $75 once I get done working with those students. You have to know your value, and I know exactly how much money it takes for me to live comfortably. And I'll be honest, Chair, it's about $4 to $5 grand a month. I need, in order for me to take care of my bills, take care of my debts, take care of everything. So when I look at me spending my time on something, how much am I contributing to that? So the least amount I get paid, I'm going to get paid is about $25 an hour, period. Because I have to make sure that and that's way more than what I would get paid if I was getting paid by an employer. So think about it like that. How much is your knowledge and your time worth for the hours that you're putting into, and then submit that invoice. Because I've learned from my white friends, they don't do stuff for free. With each other's nonprofits, they do not do stuff for free. And they pass them invoices around and everything. And I'm like, we over here always got to do stuff for free. And then it's like, oh, we're broke. But I'm like, they getting paid all the time. So yeah, I got my invoice.
Well,
I got my invoice. Like
that's why this course is coming around, because when you go through and do your business plan, it causes you to get to points where you must put value on stuff. And that's where that masterminding and how much I do, like Evelyn was saying about what did the material cost, how much time did it take me to create that, blah, blah, blah. And then you put that price on there. And then it's easier to say it. But if you have not gone through and created the business plan around that, so that you know where even what your margin is. I can do it at this price, but I would like to, this is my, and I always had a low price, I can afford price. And I also had, if I can have what I want, this would be the price. So that when someone comes and they are, some people, and looks are deceiving, okay? Some people, they probably can't afford me. I'm gonna give them this particular price. And then you find out that they got plenty of money, or they weren't even the ones, it was the corporation that was going to pay, and you have lowballed yourself. So the other thing was, that somebody's really sharp, they all, shoes shine and everything else. And so you think that you can give them a high price because you think they got money, and then you overcharge, and then lose it because really he had the look, but he didn't have the, the money. But when you have gone through, really gone through and said, this is the lease, here's my room, this is what I want, and here's my room to play around with. But it has to be at least this in order for me to not only be balanced out, but to profit.
Mhm. Yeah.
You really want to profit, and you want room to grow from year to year. Your stuff begins to get higher. I didn't even know with Everett's, we started doing sister locks back in 70, in the late 70s. We charged $125 for a tightening. Do you know that we just found out, and that was from one sister, Rashida, coming back to Everett's. And she said, y'all been charging $125 all this time. Y'all got to come up. So we changed to $150. But we were just interrupted for 20 something years. It seemed like 30 years. We've been only charging that same price. So as you grow, your prices begin to change.
You got to change with the market and what's going on around inflation. Same thing when Harold started out. We started out doing $25 present curls because that was the going rate for kids. But when we sat down and looked at how much it costs to operate the shop, we was like, it costs $25 an hour per service to run the shop. So it's like we're already losing money as a disadvantage. So when we went up to a price of $45 starting up, there was backlash from certain people that's kids should be cheaper and all the and it's like, have you seen some of the cousin it's coming in there? And I say that because some kids be like hair down. No. And I know now because of COVID and because of skill set and because of shortage of staff and everything else, that $45 starting price range has now gone up to, I think it's $55 now. Average price for a press and curl for an adult now is $75. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like the whole ball game. Braids have come up. I didn't realize how not bad, but how the price of braiding has gone up. Like braids are now $350 and up for the individual braids. I'm sitting here like, wow, the pricing has definitely changed, but you got inflation. You got the cost of doing business has just gone up. So you have to factor all that in to make sure that you're getting your profit margin and that your time is worth the product that you're producing out there. So, and it looks like everybody is on the same rate to the point where if anybody comes out talking about they doing $25 press, I don't trust you. I'm sorry, I do not trust you. If you're doing braids cheap now, saying that you do hair or doing services cheap, I don't trust you. I don't trust your skill. Because I'm like, if you're doing it on the cheap, something ain't right about that. It's like, get somebody else to do it. We ain't doing that.
Mama Evelyn, what does your picture look like? What does your big picture look like?
Oh, my big picture looks like everyone coming to me. where my home and my yard, with my yard, where I have a space basically outside, where I have a space that that people come to me for the art because I have all the stuff, and they just, you know, also,
We with you.
which is something I came across from when we were away for the night up in Ann Arbor, is people paying me to come to them to travel, and they pay travel expenses and whatever I charge. And I remember seeing that with some of the people that before the pandemic would travel to do workshops, and I would love to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but
So
basically just have a working a creative space studio where and then the residual from filming it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So are you creating a self-employment, or are you creating a company?
Ooh.
Because what you just described to me was self-employment. Because
Okay.
if you have to show up, if you don't show up, you don't make money.
Right.
So what I want you to do is we create the self-employment, what you do, but how do you what does the business look like? Have you trained? Now, so that's where like education comes in. I'm going to train these, then I pick the best and I have them work for the company. And instead of me having to go out, not only can I, if I want to, being Evelyn, being the big dog, but I have other proteges that I have trained, and they can go out there to the schools and do this and do that and run your camps and stuff like that because you like outdoors. So you might have one in California, you know, during the summer camps for the children or for adults, for Elizabeth, you know, and then you may have something else in, you know, you see what I'm saying, where it takes cold weather to do that. So you can have that in Detroit and we go out and deal, whatever. But thinking through that so that Evelyn does not have to, because you die, Evelyn's gone. All that's gone. So how do you create the business where Evelyn is out there in the Bahamas chilling whilst everybody's running their stuff? And the big dollars come in, or the big heart that I'll do this for free for these people because I love that particular organization. But otherwise, companies are paying you top dollar to come and speak. That's when they call on you. The other part, you don't have to do, but you get to do it whenever you want to, because you have created a system that runs and can be duplicated in Jamaica, in France, in Germany, whatever. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Because when Mama Sumara and I created How Does Your Goddess Grow, it was with the intent, I remember, it was with the intent on teaching others to facilitate classes and to go out and to create the classes with, you know.
Because you know that paint with numbers, or the parties where
Painting with a twist, yeah.
Yeah. Nevette, he does that. He has the parties. That's just somebody who created that and created a way for other people. I've already figured it all out, what the cost is and stuff, and then they just tap into what they're doing. So whoever created that mindset and that idea, other people are doing it, and he's just reaping from that.
Okay.
So outside the box, because you're creating it. It may never exist, but it's in your mind. So just go ahead and put it in. You have pieces with other things that other people do, and you know, because like with the braiding classes, I have a structure, but there are some things that's every school has, you know,
Mhm.
and you find that out and then you put your own baby, you dress them up like you want them. Okay, it's after 10 o'clock. Thank you all for hanging
Oh,
there. Yep. So real quick, what did you get out of it? Ebony, what you get out today?
What I got out of today is either I'm doing my job or it's just a hobby.
Okay, Mama Evelyn, thank you, Ebony.
oh, what am I getting out of it? I got, yeah, you just now, the bigger picture, because that's the way I've always operated, is that, oh, I have to do everything. But then I thought, that's why I created the patterns for my bags. That's why I created the patterns, because I was doing, you know how you have a, you know, your folder that you have all the pockets. I created a fabric fold years ago. So I've created the pattern for that. Book covers, I created the pattern for that. So yeah, see, so yeah, I understand that I don't have to do everything. And that's one thing I thought, is that I shouldn't have to sit here and make all the dial forms and paint all the dial forms and cut them out and sew them.
Yeah,
So
because
find some budding seamstresses.
yeah, you can only do so much.
Yeah.
But when you teach, not only do you teach, like masters in the natural hair, when I talk to them, so girl, my hands be doing this and my body, this, that, and the other. I said, it's time for you to duplicate. And the good thing about teaching is that you can pick the best because you've been watching them.
Mm-hmm.
They show up on time. Are they courteous? How is their relationship with customers and such? Would you want them to represent you? How's their skill level? What area would you put them in? All of that, all of those things, and you get to pick, and then you got the cream of the crop, you see. And so, but if it's about you doing it, your body start falling apart, then you're just up the creek.
Yeah.
Creek. So, yeah. Lakeisha, what'd you get, baby?
All right, so I was in and out, but basically what I got out of the whole thing is I love the fact that you were talking about personal development, because that's very, very key, that you have to continually work on self-improvement. Another thing I got out of it, like I always say, being successful is not a solo act. You need a team of like-minded people to help you. So we got to get strong in delegating authority. So delegating, you know, to work out to others, being able to trust that they will be able to do just as a good job as, you know, you can. On top of that, I say, don't be scared. A lot of people, when I used to own a restaurant, my ex-husband, he didn't want to give nobody the recipe. Like, I'm not giving them this is my mama recipe. I'm not giving them But you can't think like that, because you really can't grow like that. Just because you give them the recipe still don't mean that they're going to be able to cook that just like you. So you can't be scared that somebody going to steal this, take this, run with it. You can't worry about that. You just have to trust God and just do what you need to do. Delegate the authority. Another thing is the business plan. It's very, very important to have the business plan. The business plan is not for others. It's for others if you're trying to get along, but the business plan is really for you. It's really for you. Like, you need to write the vision down and make it plain. That's biblical. That's biblical. So it's very important to have a business plan. I know it's tedious, but you need to have a business plan, and your business plan is going to be constantly being altered. It's going to be altered. Like right now, I'm working on a building that I've been praying on, walking on, and it's manifesting. But I'm gonna have to tweak the business plan because I need to include that building now when I submit it. So your business plan is something that you're gonna always be altering and changing, so it's not never concrete. We talked about the person with competition. When you're talking about, it's very important to pay attention to your competition, because you were just talking about that, Queen Aduni, about, seeing what they doing, what they like, what they don't like, seeing what areas that you can improve on, what you like, what they didn't like. So viewing, stand on top of your competition is very, very important. And that's it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. Let's see, Danielle's already spoke. Lolly, sum us up.
Think big. Think like a businesswoman in this case. Think like a businesswoman. We have to get out of the construct of I just work, make money, work, make money, work to make money. There's more to it. And we can actually have our financial freedom in what we're doing and in our passions as well. So let's think bigger. What does that look like for us? Because it's achievable. We just have to scale it.
That's right. Ashe. Those of you who do not have, I've never read, I really impress upon you to get Rich Dad, Poor Dad, because that's going to, get that book so you understand what he's talking about, because we can get caught up in that. Like his poor dad was a teacher, had a good salary and moved up through the ranks and stuff. And then when you read the story later, he really talks about what he meant by rich dad and poor dad, and the different ways each of them thought, and the situation that his dad ended up getting into, being the poor dad, and how people controlled him and decided to take away from them. That's too much control outside of you.
Yeah.
And we want to be in charge of our lives. And then how the rich dad and the things that he was teaching caused him to think a different way. And that's what that book, not the Think and Grow Rich, but what was it called? But anyway, it's a way to think. Anyway.
Capital Clouded.
No, it's I had shared it one day. Anyway.
If you have Rich Dad Poor, if you have Audible.
Yeah, The Science of Getting Rich. And Almighty kept saying, but they never said what it was. It's about the thinking. It's about your thinking and such. You said there's a Audible one.
Yeah, if you're on Audible, you can download. I'm trying to show y'all, but it keeps blurring it out. But yeah, you can download Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'm gonna download it and start listening.
And listen to him on the Robert Kiyosaki. You can get him all on YouTube, But anyway, so what I want you to do for next week is just write out, when you are through, like, just write out what your vision is. It doesn't have to be in a format. But I always knew I wanted to have a school. It was going to be fashion and all that. But what landed in my lap, which I call my assignment on earth for my family, was I was the one who could create the business structure, and my family, they trusted me to as well, not only move to Detroit, but to give their life to this work. So but what does that look like? I've always seen a big building. I've always looked at buildings and structures and stuff like that, because we're going to create that and write it down and get to talk. So good. Hug yourself. Today is Friday, so I think Mama she put some things in there. If you got something for us to do, just throw it in in the WhatsApp. Okay, and hug the world. And have a wonderful, 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 prosperous, fun, insightful weekend. Peace out.
Love you.
Love you too.